Where did you come from, baby? And who send you that way? Won't you wait? When you're older, you got to be.
Makes me want to get up and dance.
Yeah, for sure.
You know now is the perfect time. We can make it right, in the night. It's the love thing. Let me take you to the max. I want to love you. Watch a pretty young thing. You need some loving. That's to the loving.
I better stop before they stop us.
Oh, that was beautiful. You can't beat a nice bit of Michael Jackson.
Oh, he just knows how to spruce us up and get us all going. It was a tragedy losing him. You know, he was an absolute fave of mine. Yeah, so I am thrilled to be here. If you are joining us, thank you so much. Today we're going with the heart. So let us know that you're here. Connect with us and let us know. Andy will be checking to see the comments. But essentially, today we're going to be talking about relationships and agreeing to disagree. And we all know how difficult it can be and so trying, you know. And and to me, you know, I think when I think about attitudes and all of this conflict that goes on, particularly during our times, a key step to reaching our next level is knowing where we actually live spiritually. Do you live in the past? Do you live in the present? Or do you live in the future? You know, I ask because only when you're aware precisely of your patterns, the way you respond to situations, that you get to take control and make true changes in your life. So how often do you get upset, frazzled, disturbed, concerned when your partner and even your children refuses to listen? I get upset. I'm human. I'm just like everybody here. Perhaps, you know, they are disrespectful, dismissive, sometimes thoughtless, or maybe they're just not really telling you the truth. I've been there, and I'm sure you have. So life can be so magnificent, and it's filled with so much wonder and wonderful experiences. And it is no coincidence that we are here together experiencing it. Our relationships can be so joyous and yet deeply shattering. Likewise, you know, our children can bring us so much joy and pain. And many here would relate to the fact that we all work very hard to make a living. And sometimes we may even feel like we're not appreciated for those efforts. And we fall sometimes in and out of love for looking to hope to find the right person and never seem to discover them. And you know, the list goes on and on, but we're given unique life experiences for our own personal growth. I believe enrichment and enlightenment, and it's up to us to discern, you know, essentially which path are we going to take. You know, our attitude played such a significant role in our journey, and guess what? We all are entitled to seek these sought after life riches because they are deeply, deeply rooted in us. And today, my dear friend here and I will share perspectives, how we go about life's luring distractions and the pesky conflicts that we're faced to encounter. And we'll share ways to manage them, and most particular with our beloved individuals, our partners. And so I thank you for joining us today. I wanted to kind of encapsulate the very beginning, but I am your host, your relationship and divorce strategist. My name is Barbie Litabisi, and I am here alongside one of the two sides, the fabulous relationship coach, Mr. Andy W. Shepard. Give us a heart today. We don't want likes. Let us know you're here tuning in, and feel free to share any of this information, tag a friend, or just simply share if you feel compelled. So First and foremost, again, welcome to the Influencer Show. We are a 30-minute show where you get to experience life through our eyes, where we share plenty of options to ponder on and hopefully consider implementing them into your life. It is our goal to help you understand you have options. Don't second guess yourself or feel restrained. Rather, have courage to move forward with confidence, because you're here to share life with us. And life just simply would not be the same without you. So please understand the topics that Andy and I choose are designed to plant a seed in your heart, one of hope. We care deeply for you, and we know that times are extremely challenging. And despite it all, we want to be heard, not have fear, gain confidence, surround ourselves with empowering people. And yeah, I am a true believer that, and Andy and most people that will know, I set boundaries. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that. Andy, will you please give us some insight? I mean, I believe in boundaries, but what about you? What are some things that you do to deflect conflict when it becomes ever so present?
I think the biggest thing for me is patience. Just that one word, patience. And that's one thing being married that I've really learned. And, I truly love my wife, and I know this is all cliche, but it's like, we do have respect for each other. And I realize as a coach that sometimes when she's doing stuff that I'm finding not agreeable, shall we say, I think about, excuse me?
Oh, I said it happens.
Yeah, it does. It does. So I think, well, I know that we're kind of conditioned, and a lot of things that we do are actually conditioned responses. And we don't like to hear this because it makes us think, well, are we robots or what's happening? But the surroundings, our parents, the people that we've been in close contact with and have had an influence on us. And so we'll have a tendency to react in a certain way. Our country, where we've born, the city, all sorts of things can have a big effect on us. And so I try to look and just say, I'm just seeing a conditioned response here. So how can I get upset? We all have freedom of choice. We all have freedom to grow and not accept these conditions, but conditioning. But it's still the way it is. I know that I'm conditioned. I can see that in many, many things, and I'm doing the best that I can to let go of them. A great example is being British. I'm trying to stop being so British. There are certain aspects which people find endearing, and other things I find a pain in the where. So being in Brazil, it first started to show this because the Brazilians are very different in their culture to the British. And I realized that I was doing certain things and looked at it and said, hey, is this me? Or is this my conditioning? There's a bit more Britishness I need to get rid of, and I'd start changing. And so, it's been really useful going from country to country because I can choose the best bits of each country. So when you say to me, who are you? Then I'll say, well, I'm English. I don't say I'm British because I come from England. So I'm English, but that's politically incorrect. But if you're Scottish, you can say you're Scottish. So why not? Anyway, I digress. But I really see myself as a citizen of the world. I'm part British, part Brazilian, part American. And eventually, if I ever go live in another country, I'll be part Italian or part French or part Spanish. So there's a long-winded answer to it, but I hope that's a good example.
You're so open. I love it's almost like you're humble in part, and I think that's really beautiful to have a different perspective because we're all such a conglomerate, like a melting pot predominantly here in specifically in Florida and in California. And I love how you extend respect to the other cultures, because they're just as valid as English, British, Australians, whoever it may be, you know, whoever may be tuning in, Africans, whoever. And I don't think that should be dismissed. And having myself lived in an island, and many of you guys may know I lived in San Juan, and we traveled to the Dominican Republic, various islands in the region. You know, I know an awful lot, I believe, and because my mother, she owned a travel agency and we were exposed to traveling to various areas. You know, I felt as a child, I was exposed to different perspective, different cultures. So it opens your mind to appreciating others and being a little bit more flexible, which I think that's really beautiful. And the counter to that would be, I would say, for me, and I didn't go into this earlier, but it's about setting boundaries. You know, how oftentimes we go throughout the week where we feel like we're constantly meeting other people's expectations, you know, because of their demands. It could be through work, it could be through our children, you know, our former spouse. I know many people here that may be listening probably have gone through a dissolution, and then you stop and think, well, what about me? Who's going to serve me and take care of me? You know, I very much feel like this because I juggle so many responsibilities during the week, but instead of feeling this sense of pressure, finding fault in someone for the way they press me, you know, I try to look inward and view my experience as an opportunity for personal growth. And if you know, it's a huge word in my vocabulary. And I learned a long time ago, if you don't set those boundaries, you will get trampled on and be taken advantage of. So you may know what I'm talking about if you've had a level of complexity in your relationship. Sometimes it's really hard to diffuse that conflict. It oftentimes leaves you very empty. You may have a sense of, hey, I feel kind of used here. And for some that, you know, are left in the cold, they may feel abandoned. So at what point do you say, you know, enough is enough, or say no more? You know, I believe that life can be filled with so much strife and anger, hurt, because we don't communicate nor we share our clear thoughts and intentions with others. And I think that's really what motivated me a long time ago to study communication. When I went to school in Georgia, we oftentimes assume that people can read our minds, and often, you know, it's often the case that it's quite the opposite. So we must vocalize what it is we seek, what we want, what we desire, and you know, sometimes we just need to be flexible as well, kind of like what Andy was saying. Meet someone in the middle so we can compromise, so we can meet in part someone's objective, and you know, everybody's happy here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And while setting goals, I think one big suggestion I'd like to make is that we do it from a heart-centered place and not just head. Because when we start working with the head, we can not make the best decisions. But if we're doing it from a heart-centered place, then we're going to, you know, our goals are going to be different. Our boundaries are going to be different. And so that is really, really good idea. And so, yeah, definitely that's something to go for, and find out what that means. Find out how to do it if you're not sure.
You know, and I got to thinking about these boundaries too, and I thought, well, what happens when the other party's more self-absorbed, you know, wishes to inflict chaos or pain or harass you? It's very evident. It does happen. We see it throughout. We hear about it. You know, predominantly me being in the court as often as I am, I see it. And you have to, at some point, allow it to be known that you do have your boundaries. If someone is that determined to contend into your space. You know, there's semantic space. I studied this also in communication. I'm dating myself, but the reality is, you know, it's your health, and it's simply not worth extending them your time and your energy. So if you are a lady here that is single listening to this, I know I've got many of you ladies here, and I know men too that face the same thing. They'll think about women that is just all they want. They feel like they're self-entitled, and it goes both ways. But I thought too that we could talk a little bit about not being swayed or influenced by fear. We have to believe. Do
That's the answer
you?
to everything.
Pardon?
That's the answer to everything. It's coming from this place of heart and believing and connecting to a superior power of some kind. That is the answer to everything. Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry. Carry on.
Absolutely. I believe that life has a really interesting way of playing out the way it's intended. You know, despite the odds of something intentionally, you know, somebody trying to inflict that pain or cause friction in your life, it's really interesting if you pause for a minute and you notice your surroundings, you know, how it's plentiful. You have the tendency, everything has a tendency to unfold in your favor. And sometimes we just have to give it a different perspective or a different view to appreciate those things that we do have. You know, for me, I took my mess. Many of you guys know my story. You know, it was a brutal, endless divorce, and turned it into my message. And I know you are listening, those my single people, and I know you see the value in what I have to offer. And I mean this to my every core. You too can overcome these obstacles. You know, sometimes we get so down about what's currently taking place in our lives that we fail to recognize, you know, this beauty that I'm speaking of, that it's a gift to us. And, you know, if you stop for a minute and wonder in your life, how in the world did these blessings, you know, I'm a Christian, how did I in the world did I get the blessings that I have, or that my child has, or those people that are around me? I can tell you it's been more times than I can count with my own little two hands. So you may ask, okay, so why does she want to share this with you? I'm an empath. I relate well to those people who are going through the struggle. The struggle is very real. The divorce rate has remained pretty much consistently, but we see the caseload just gets augmented. The cases get extended for longer periods of time, particularly during this COVID. So I am a true believer that, you know, life happens for us and not to us. We are definitely not victims, and we actually have control of our destiny. Andy, you have anything you want to share? I feel like I'm
Yeah,
talking.
no, lots of things to share. That was really good. But picking up on when people are not being so nice to us and they're causing a lot of friction and causing us all sorts of problems, then, I mean, the thing that I think about also is it's a challenge to do this at the time because we're having all of our buttons pushed. But if we can just kind of take a few breaths and kind of, you know, stand back a bit and just kind of be an observer. Being an observer is a really good thing to do, and that is just step and kind of get an out of body experience for free. All you do is you just imagine that you're watching yourself on TV, and so you're just watching it play out, but it's not you know it's not real. It's not happening to you. You're just the observer. And I find that's really, really useful. I find this, my coaching clients find this really helpful as well. And so when we can do this, then we can start to really stop reacting to it and look and say, why is this person doing this? Because, you know, people only are horrible and doing terrible stuff when they're hurt. The place that they're coming from is a hurt place, is an angry place, is an out of control place. So then we have a choice. If we can control our buttons being pressed, then maybe we can look at them and say, and feel compassion for them and go, oh my goodness, this is somebody, this is a wounded, you know, if it was an animal, we'd say wounded animal. You're not going to get upset the dog trying to bite you. You're going, okay, you're telling me you're frightened. I understand. But we can't do that with humans, which is crazy because we've got a mouth, we've got ears, we can communicate. But if it's an animal, we've got the compassion. So, you know, maybe we should have that skill and put it onto humans and try to be more understanding and compassionate. And I think that's the most challenging part about being married, is that she knows how to push my buttons and I know how to do hers. We don't do it on purpose, but sometimes that's how it feels. You know, I'm sure we've all been there. If we've been in a long-term relationship, it's like, oh my God, how do they know where my kryptonite is, you know, my Achilles heel, because they know it. But, you know, we just come from, if you have a relationship which is based on a solid, something solid, then we can say, okay, I see where this is, you know, this is not my stuff. I don't have to react to this. I can just let it go. So those are just a few thoughts I had.
No, I like that. And in implementing, and we've talked a little bit about this, forgiveness and just coming out of it when the circumstances are more like in your situation. And that's the way that you just displayed to us how we should do, just sit back and reflect, breathe, because sometimes we don't know what kind of day that individual may be having, or a loved one or a child. And sometimes we just, rather than lash out, I think it's important that we are, as the title calls for, have grace, extend a little courtesy to them. Sometimes it may repel you altogether. And I have seen this so many times. I'm like, oh, that's not very attractive. But it's always good to step back and be the one, the mature one, to be able to manage the situation so it doesn't escalate, you know, and you just want to diffuse the situation. But I wanted to also talk a little bit about, you know, when we're like in the midst of all of this conflict, probably the best thing to do is surround ourselves with those that love us and care about us. And how many times do we tell ourselves, oh, I just don't have enough time for that. But then you find yourself, when you do it, you discover it was just time just so well spent, and it just enlightens you and makes you happier. So whether you choose to venture outside of your existing comfort zone in pursuit of your new relationship, if you're sitting here tuning in or not, plan some time to engage, you know, become acquainted, and with your family, friends, neighbors. You know, sometimes we live somewhere and we don't even know our neighbors. It's important that we get connected with everyone. We're energy, we're a source of energy, and we get it from others. I know just me being here live, I don't get to see your faces, but I just, after I get off of these lives, I'm like, wow, I'm all wound. And I love it. It's just, in part, it's because I believe strongly that Andy and myself are serving you in the capacity that we're hoping that you will appreciate. So if you're tuning in, give us a heart. We want to know that you're tuning in. And so going back to what I was saying is, share where you are with your friends in your life. You may find, and this is really interesting, because sometimes we just have a tendency, oh, they don't want to hear from us. Or some friends may be very receptive to what you may be going, and then they too may be going through the same experience, and you may have some commonality and maybe kind of vent. So try to go out there. I know times are really tough with this COVID. You got to be masked, but go out there and, you know, search for the joy. It's there for you to experience. Whether it's a good experience or not, it's there for your own personal growth. And if we just are, or if you just are willing to stretch yourself outside of that comfort zone, you know, undoubtedly will find discoveries. You know, sometimes doing hard things does not mean it will be painstaking. It means that, you know, by you taking action, and it can be just little incremental actions every week, you will make new discoveries of gaining strength, you know, to move past whatever obstacles you may have. Andy?
For sure. Yeah, and like if you want an uplift, you want to lift your spirits. I've discovered this magical way of doing it. It's brilliant. You want to hear?
I do.
And let's see if you agree. So I've got this theory that we're probably our happiest when we're kind of in our teens, maybe late teens, early 20s. Remember the music you were listening to at that time and go play it. I promise you, I guarantee you, you're going to feel good. I've been, you know, recently I've found that you can get headphones which give high fidelity sound, audiophile sound. And I couldn't find the music. I was getting streaming, wasn't working. So I've got CDs and I've converted them to put them on my phone. And it's like high fidelity. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I feel so good because these are the moments, it's locked in when I was my most happy. And so when I play it, it triggers this happiness memories. And I feel really good. I got goosebumps just telling you this, you know? So there is a tip for you, but it works.
No,
Try it.
and I believe, and I think that's why I love music so much. It is such a integral part to everything I do. If I am straightening up the house, if I'm working, it's always going, and it's such a immediate lifter of the spirit, you know. And it's kind of fun. And you know, if you rather turn to something else and do what makes you happy, you know, I think for Andy and for myself, we're musical type people, so we have a tendency just to migrate towards the music. Like what you were just saying, Andy, we were just now listening to PYT with Michael Jackson, yes. And you know, that was from back in the time, and I'm gonna be dating myself, when I was in high school. And I just love it. I mean, no, actually, yeah, when I was in high school. I'm like, but I would agree with you. That's good insight. So you guys out there and ladies, go out there and play some music. Get out of your comfort zone, move, do something. And if you want to go into isolation and dance, do whatever you want, whatever makes you happy. And I always like to draw us back in, because ultimately we can always receive and give, you know, but we can always receive, but it's always important also to serve, because it has a way of grounding us to the level of gratitude of everything that offers us in life. And I get it, you know, it's difficult when you're like, my day, my schedule, it's already full. How can I even possibly spend time or dedicate time? My advice to you is to put it on your schedule. Schedule it in. Set time aside for it. And if you're intentional with your life and your purpose, the sky will open up to you in ways unimaginable. And as I mature, I will have to tell you, I rediscover this over and over and over again. When we serve, we are opening ourselves to opportunities that we never, ever expect. You know, it awakens our senses. Our vision becomes clear about things. We just become happier. We touch and inspire lives that possibly we've never even imagined coming across. We become our true self, you know, our true life. It's almost like we learn our purpose here on earth. People will feel and sense us. You know, as I said earlier, we're all a source of energy. So why not use it for the better? Particularly when somebody's saying, get out of my way, or somebody's just, you know, having an altitude, or they need an altitude adjustment, as I like to say. So, you know, I know this may seem silly, but I'm going to talk about our golden retriever, Babette, and the joy that I believe that she brings into our world. You know, with her, and many of you here who may have pets, you will agree with me, no words need to be spoken. Our home feels her spirit, you know, and it's, we sense her, and it's really a beautiful thing how we reciprocate that same love that she offers us. And it's like, and that is what, I guess what I'm trying to say, it's very similar to when we are in the service of our fellow man. So I encourage you guys to go out there and, you know, make an impact, however minute, serve our neighbor, communicate with an old cousin, which is something I need to attest, I need to do. And, you know, just hold up your head up with confidence, you know, that everything's going to be okay. No, you know, what, and just watch what happens when you are purposeful of how you manage your life, how you interact with others. You will feel a lift in your heavy heart, particularly everything, all the craziness that's going on right now. And you will have a sense of appreciation for something as a bird tapping on your windowsill. I challenge you, you know, really try it. Then turn back to this page and let us know how it came to fruition for you. You know, did it make you feel better? Because we always want to hear your input. We're here, we want to honor you and provide you a sense of being. You know, Andy, what do you got to say? I know I kind of was long-winded here.
Yeah, I mean, gratitude is the greatest power that we can have. It really is. Never understate the power of gratitude. This is what my biggest gift that Brazil gave to me. Yes, it's beautiful there. Yes, they've got amazing beaches, amazing palm trees, and golden sands, and clear waters, and beautiful people. But I learned gratitude, and I learned how to be. It wasn't about having lots of expensive stuff to be happy, or expensive meals to be happy. It was about being with good friends who are enjoying each other's company and giving what little, in a lot of cases with the people I met, just give them whatever they had. What little they had, they shared completely. And that really impacted me. And when we're grateful, you create this amazing energy. And it is really a superpower. Try it and watch your world change.
Yeah, I want to hear, you know, just if this is new to you, tell us what you think, you know. And one last point that I thought would be interesting to share with you that came to mind is sometimes we need time alone to reflect, to assess, to figure things out for ourselves and go into a little seclusion. Doesn't mean that you're trying to dismiss everyone, but sometimes, you know, our particular now in these challenging times, when our calendars are so booked out, let's say 3 months out, you know, children are calling for our attention. And it's no wonder, you know, people are feeling the way they are. They're expressing anger and sadly distrust in our leaders, and questioning their, you know, their race and ethnicity. I often wonder when did, it all began? And, we know that this is a history. There's a history here. But I believe we all deserve time alone to reflect and gain insight to which direction, we should pursue in the world that's filled with so much uncertainty and hatred and pain. And I know it can seem overwhelming, as I feel it as an empath, but I think we need to aim to tune out sometimes and give some well-deserved time to ourselves. I know we all have that inner wisdom, and it comes to us when we are willing to pause long enough to listen intently to it and to that inner voice, or intuition as I like to refer to it. I personally treasure mine. I think that's where I get my guidance. And spending intentional time uninterrupted is a gift. And it's critical to nurturing your soul. And we all need to refresh our minds and our spirits. And we don't, at the end of the day, we don't want to reach the end of our lives wondering what could have been, but rather not have any regrets that we took time out to smell the flowers along the way. Time passes quicker than we realize, and we may not get a second chance. So while you're here listening to us, embrace this opportunity. It is a gift. And I extend you guys a huge hug, because I know it's so tough, and a huge kiss. And I'm going to leave Andy to leave his final thoughts.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I just wanted to remember one thing. I'm a little bit out of this is a few comments ago, but I just think it's really important. If you're getting really upset with somebody, walk out the room. Don't engage in the argument. Make sure that the other person understands what you're doing. You love that other person, so don't start fighting. You're just going to hurt each other, and you'll just make it worse and worse. So I've got an understanding with my wife that if we get, I will not engage in an argument. I'll walk out. And most women hate that, and they'll start following. Don't do that. So, everything, is about try to keep a peaceful mind. I love what you were saying. Find a way of getting inside of ourselves and finding some inner peace. When I had a really stressful job in the UK, I did this by going hiking every Sunday without fail. And I go out on my own and I just hike, and the nature really helped me. But do whatever you can. Go to a park, find somewhere that's quiet. Sometimes there are streets which are quiet, and you can go there. Just do whatever you can. Meditation, Tai Chi, yoga. We've got so many possibilities, but reconnect with yourself and find time to do this, so that when we connect with others, we're at our best, and we can do it in a quality way.
Thank you, Andy. So please leave us a comment below. Give us your feedback. Let us know what you'd like us to discuss, in other lives. And feel free to connect with me. I have a website. It's barbielativisi.com, where I offer complimentary 1-hour consultation. You can sign up to stay in the loop to an upcoming events. I also offer, which many of you guys know, courses. There's even links to my YouTube channels that I offer topics on relationships and divorce. I would just love for you to just connect with me, and I'm going to let Andy share with you how you can connect with him.
Yeah, well, it's really important to set your boundaries. So I've got a video on this. If you go to andythecoach.com, it's really setting what you want from a relationship, but also the things that you don't want. So you need to set both of them, and it goes through on how you can journal this and a few other bits and pieces. So that's my gift to you, andythecoach.com.
Thank you, Andy. And as always, we like to celebrate So, happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to
you.
you.
Happy birthday to you.
To
Happy
you.
birthday,
Happy
our
birthday
dear
to you.
friends. Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to
you,
you. Ah, that's you.
Debbie.
Ah.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Next week, we will be here at the same time. Please don't hesitate to leave us a comment below, share, give us likes or heart. What here? Babette likes heart. Yes, she does. Mwah. And stay tuned next week. We will be here precisely at 6 o'clock, wherever you may be at specific time. So until then, have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your week. And like I always like to close, we'll see you guys on the right
Right
side.
side.
Yes. Take care, guys. Have a great
Bye.
rest of your week. Bye. Okay, Abby. Can I hang out, Abby? Okay, hold on, baby. Hold on, I gotta hang up. I love you too, baby. Okay, hold on. Okay. Bye, Auntie.
Bye. See you.